Welcome back to Naptime Sports Talk Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to our latest episode. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to Naptime Sports Talk Podcast. We are here for Season 3, Episode 2. It is Labor Day today, and I know people are getting anxious to go back to school. I go back to work tomorrow with kids. Feeling a little nervous myself, but, just like anything, after a couple days, you get back in the groove of things and things start settling down. So overall, I had a pretty good summertime, busy with my family, expecting another one here in September. And yeah, we're just really excited to get back at the podcast, have football season start up here shortly. So just coming back, welcome back, DC. Big D, he's going to be my co-host for Season 3 moving forward. So Big D, welcome back to the podcast, and I'm looking forward to this season-long journey with you and then the off-season as well. So,
yeah, I am super pumped for this. I cannot wait for the NFL to start here in about 5 days, so I'm pretty excited for that.
Yeah, for sure. Me too. Game 1, Philly and Cowboys. I'm expecting Philly to wipe up the Cowboys pretty easily on that one. How about you?
Yeah, that's going to be a no-brainer.
And then Friday night, man, on YouTube, they have Kansas City versus the Chargers down in, I think, Brazil is what it is. So that'll be an interesting game too. But looking forward to the football season to get kicking off here.
Yeah, that's going to be a good game. Everything. So I'm excited for the NFL to start. We just had college start but last week. Pretty much all games played last week and then the week before. So
yeah.
Football's are right here.
And our two teams are already 0-1. So Bama and Notre Dame both suffered losses in week 1. So hopefully better days going forward with them for sure. So, all right, well, let's get started here on the 53-man roster. What were you going to say? It sounded like you have some words to say about Bama.
Yeah, it was just a desperate to see it lose to unranked Florida State, but
yeah.
It's the first game of the year. They got long ways to go, so I hope they can turn everything around here.
Yeah, for sure.
Very quick.
I feel like that Florida State got that Tommy Castellano as quarterback. He transferred in from BC, so that helped them a lot. He's going to be a good He's a good quarterback, and Florida State's got the talent on their team, so that's kind of what they were missing the last year. So yeah, just hopefully our teams get some wins their next time out there. I think Bama's got like UL Monroe coming up, and Notre Dame's off this next week. So I got to wait for a little while. And then they have Texas A&M at home, which will be a tough game for them. So
yeah,
but hey, you're a good team. Made the national championship last year. Gonna have some teams coming after you, and I was really excited about CJ Carr and the performance he put on yesterday. So I think they'll be all right. So, all right, DC. Well, we're going to get into the 53-man roster here. My last episode, I kind of did a prediction. Thought I did pretty darn good on predicting the roster. A couple moves have happened since then. We can talk more about that. But, yeah, just getting right into it. So, moving into the quarterback room, really no surprises there. I guess the bigger surprise would have been, letting Sam Howell go, trading him off, and then having Carson Wentz come in to be the backup, which I was happy with. I talked about that in the last episode. It'd be nice to have a guy that has, more experience back there in the quarterback room that we can rely on versus relying on Sam Howell, where he just kind of seemed like he was having trouble with the offense and kind of running it. But I'm excited with McCarthy, Wentz, and then Brosmer going forward here with the Vikings. Brosmer was he's really solid in the preseason, so maybe he can be a little developmental thing and see what happens with him moving forward. So any thoughts about the quarterback room there? Kind of same.
Yeah, I really like that quarterback class right there. Bring a veteran quarterback in. He did have like struggles with other teams, but how KOC is. He's a offensive genius, and he'll help Carson Wentz out a lot with that.
Yeah, a big thing with him too is seemed like he did wonders with Sam Darnold, and not saying that hopefully we don't need Wentz to come and start a full season and McCarthy's healthy going forward for the whole year and does okay. But I'm excited. I'm excited about the quarterback room and what we have. All right, so yeah, moving on to the running back room. Um, the big one was Xavier Scott ended up making the 53 man roster, which was something that I was hoping for. You know, he had a really nice preseason and off season for us. I like his ability to also catch the ball in the backfield. He has really nice bursts too, and I think he can provide a little more to the quarterback room and kind of fill that Aaron Jones role a little bit if he was to get hurt. We know how Aaron Jones kind of comes out of games quite often because of injuries and things like that. And then Jordan Mason, I'm really excited about that 1-2 punch with him and Jones moving forward. You know, I think if Jones goes down, we'll also have Jordan Mason. That is a really, really tremendous back, a little more power type of back. Then they kept Chandler, which I was surprised that they kept Chandler, but I'm happy with. And I'm wondering if once CJ Ham comes back, if Chandler or Xavier Scott will probably get moved because CJ is going to be on the IR for at least the first 4 games of the regular season. So we'll see what happens with that. But I know you like Chai Chandler, Big D. What's your thought of the running back room that they did there?
Um, yeah, that's another strong group right there, and Xavier Scott did have a really good preseason. I think he was between him and Chandler. I think he was the better back. And
Yeah, for
I know
sure.
Chandler didn't play much, but Xavier Scott he looked really good out there and everything. So yeah, I just think that when I think it's when CJ comes back from the IL, I think they're gonna keep Scott, and I think they're gonna get rid of Chandler.
Yeah, that's what I think too. So
So like, but they could put Chandler back at returning kicks too, because he did it. He
yeah,
has experience with that a little bit.
there's a guy that I'm going to talk about next in the next group here that I think is specifically for kickoff and punt return
Okay.
in the wide receiver position here. But yeah, you know, Chandler has that experience for sure. That's a good point. So moving on to the wide receiver room, the big addition. Welcome back, Adam Thielen. Super excited to get him back. You know, it'll be fun to watch him and Addison and JJ, or Justin Jefferson, I should say, once Addison's suspension's done, and then also TJ Hawkinson. So if the line can hold up and give McCarthy some time, get the run game going, I think we could have a very potent offense this year.
Mhm.
And I'm super excited with the weapons that he has. So, but yeah, moving on to other guys, you know, obviously Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Thielen, Ty Felton, who is a rookie from Maryland. Jalen Naylor will be back. Sounds like he will most likely play Monday night versus the Bears. There was talks that he might miss that game, so we'll see what happens. But I expect Naylor to have a increased role in the weeks that Addison is out. And then they kept Miles Price is a guy that I was thinking he had some really nice punt returns and some kickoff returns too during the preseason game. He's a rookie from Indiana, so that was one guy that made the 53 that may have not have been thought of way before training camp started. So he won himself the job during training camp. So welcome to the Minnesota Vikings, Miles Price.
Woo!
Yeah, and you know, overall that running back, or not running back, but wide receiver, we can go running backs too, but wide receiver room is looking pretty good.
Mhm.
So once Addison comes back and then having that leadership and veteran presence with Thielen as well, I think that'll provide a lot of help to those guys. So I was a little nervous with Addison, you know, being suspended and having Naylor in there, but once we brought Thielen in, I was like, yeah, it's a pretty good room.
So you think that after Addison comes back, you think Thielen will be the third wide receiver then Naylor will be the fourth then?
Yeah, I think that I think that is what will happen. I think Thielen will be the third wide receiver. Addison will be 2, JJ 1, or Jettis. I gotta get used to saying him as Jay Jettis instead of JJ. But yeah, I think that Naylor would probably drop down the 4 and have some kind of role in the
Mm-hmm.
offense still. Um, but yeah, I think those are the for sure 3 guys getting the majority of the playing time and the snaps. So moving forward. But yeah, what do you think? Same thing?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
actually, a cool fact, when I was at the Twins game yesterday, Am Thielen was
Uh-huh.
actually at the Twins game with his two boys.
Oh,
Yeah, it
really?
was.
Super
Yeah,
cool.
they
Super
had it
cool.
really on the jumperthon. It was really cool to see that.
Yeah, that's awesome. They were excited to be back in Minnesota,
Hmm.
so that's awesome that they're excited and they want to be here. And he actually took I think like a $2 million, $3 million pay cut to come back to the Minnesota
Yeah.
Vikings too. So, hey, why wouldn't you? You have a chance to do good things this
Hmm.
year. So we'll see. I'm not gonna say we're a Super Bowl contender right now, but I definitely think we could be a very, very good team if everything clicks out and works out.
And
So
plus, Thielen can actually help out with our wide receiver room too, because he's a veteran too.
yeah, exactly, exactly. All right, so we're moving on to tight ends. So they brought, obviously Hawkinson to Oliver, the two, and then they have one more, and that's Ben Urasek was the third tight end. He was a undrafted free agent from Georgia. I know Big D loves his Georgia Bulldogs. But I talked about in my first episode that I thought maybe Nick Vannett would be, but they slid him onto the practice squad and they put Urasek at the third spot. And then not Josh, but Bartholomew, who we drafted out of Pittsburgh, is on the injured list right now. And I think he's like designated to return. Might be mistaken by that, but I think at some point he has a chance to come back.
Okay.
So yep, so that's the tight end group. Moving on to the whole line, they ended up keeping, I think, 10 offensive linemen, which I actually nailed this down with my 53. I got every single guy correct here with the the offensive line room. So yeah, Ryan Kelly, Blake Brandell, Will Fries, who will be starting, Joe Huber, which was one of the guys that I thought had a pretty good camp out of Wisconsin. Donovan Jackson, our first round rookie, will be starting. Michael Jurgens, he can also go in and slide in at center. Christian Darrisaw, and then Brian O'Neill on the other side, right tackle. Christian Darrisaw on left tackle. Walter Rouse, and then Justin Scully was the 10 guys that they brought in. I think it's a pretty solid group. Brandell has some experience starting last year at guard. One thing I'm a little nervous about is the center backup spot. I just haven't heard much or great, not a whole lot of great chatter around Michael Jurgens at the center spot sliding in there because he's been kind of struggling in camp. But hey, he's gonna have more time to learn, and hopefully, we don't. Hopefully, Ryan Kelly's healthy all season. We don't have
Yeah.
to rely on him to slide in there in the center
Yeah, for
spot.
sure.
So, all right, moving on to the defense. So the defense, super excited about this defense. Big D line should be. I think they're going to get after a lot of quarterbacks, cause havoc on the quarterback, just that front seven in general. So just go right down the list here. Tyrion Ingram Dawkins, he made the team, rookie out of Georgia. We drafted him. Elijah Williams was an undrafted free agent out of Morgan State who made the team. Jonathan Allen, Hargrave, they'll be the starters at D tackle there in the middle. Jalen Redmond, well, actually, they'll play one of the three spots on the D line with running the 3-4. Levi Drake Rodriguez makes a team, and then Jalen Redmond for all those D line guys. And then we move on to the linebackers. We got Blake Cashman, Austin Keys. So these guys are the interior linebackers here. Kobe King, Ivan Pace Jr. I don't think I'm missing some. Oh yeah, Eric Wilson. Those guys are interior linebackers. I was surprised they kept. Let's see, what was that 5? 1,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 5. I thought they'd maybe keep 4, but they ended up keeping 5. So Austin Keys was another undrafted guy, rookie out of Auburn. So I think they had like 7 undrafted free agents make this 53, which is crazy.
That is really great.
One thing, you look back at the 22 draft, Quasey's first draft, the only guy he has left, I believe, is Chandler on the team. And people give him a lot of slack about that. But hey, one thing I'll have to say, they do a really nice job of identifying undrafted free agents, because in the last handful of years now, the last 2 seasons, there's been 2 or 3 years, there's been undrafted free agents making this team and making an impact. I go back to the first year, Ivan Pace Jr., undrafted free agent. out of Cincinnati. Now he's one of our starters on the interior linebacker. So they do a good job at identifying those undrafted guys. That's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you think of the D line room so far, and then the linebacker room? We'll get to the edge rushers here next.
Yeah. I think that I I like the front line. I really like that. I like the linebackers. I like um the defensive line part. And like you said, for like, everybody is that if everybody stays healthy, we're gonna be hard to stop. Um, like I said, I think they could be a top 5 defense all season long if they stay healthy. If they stay healthy, they're gonna be top 5.
For sure, for sure. And I actually had to take my my little headphone jack out here, so I kind of missed what you said. So if you asked me for opinion on something, my bad. But it was like creating some static in my headphones. I didn't like that sound, so I just trying to
No,
fix
I
that
just
here.
like I said, like um, I'm very excited for the front four, like Allen, Hargrave, all that stuff. I think they're gonna have an impact on that defense. I think we're gonna put pressure on the quarterbacks. I have a feeling that Dallas is gonna be hungry this year, and I think he's gonna have a heck of a second year.
Yeah, Dallas Turner.
And
Yeah, for sure.
and everything because he looked good in camp. He looked good in the preseason games that he actually played, and I think he's gonna be something to reckon with.
For sure. You know, the one thing I'm excited about, we'll get to the in outside linebackers here next, talk about more a little more pass rush, is the rotation possibilities that they could have on the D line in the interior there and on the outside. So I'm really excited about that, you know, keeping guys fresh. Look at some of these, you know, Philadelphia, I know last year they kind of got to Mahomes with a 4-man pass rush mostly. But in years past, a lot of guys, a lot of teams, good defenses have that rotation of guys, keeping them fresh, keeping them ready during the game. So I like the possibility of having those guys rotate in and out or rotate in and out and provide some little rest for some of the starters at times. So yeah, moving on to the outside linebackers, Jonathan Grenard, Andrew Van Ginkel, Bo Richter made the team, which I was happy about that. Dallas Turner, we talked about. Chaz Chambliss is an undrafted rookie from Georgia who made the team. That was one guy that was not on my radar to make it, but sounds like he's a good special teams guy, so that makes sense. And then I don't think I'm missing anyone. I'm just trying to go over my list. I think I covered everyone. Yeah, Van Ginkel, Turner, Richter, uh, Grenard, and Chambliss. The one surprise for me was that Gabe Murphy did not make the 53, but he's on our practice squad. So that's someone that they could call up during the season if needed. You know, I had to look that up because I forgot how many games it is for teams to elevate players, and it was so they're allowed to call up 2 players from the practice squad, the active roster, for a single game without needing to sign them to the 53. So they can do that. But I always thought it was more. I thought it was like 3 or so games, but it must have changed here recently. So if they need to and they're in a punch, they can call those guys up to the 53. And I don't think then they have to put them through waivers either. So that's kind of a nice thing. But those guys are always available to sign somewhere else because they're technically not on the 53. So
Mm-hmm.
they could say if they got a call from Jacksonville, for example, hey, we need a pass rusher. Can you come sign with us and play on our 53-man roster? So those guys can jump. They don't have to stay on the practice squad all year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so moving on to the DB room, we're going to go cornerbacks first, and we'll talk about safeties after that. So right now we have 4 cornerbacks on our roster, which I thought over this last couple weeks, or since the initial 53 went on last Tuesday, so almost a week from now, that we would have signed another cornerback, but so far we have not. So right now it's 4 guys. It's Byron Murphy Jr., Isaiah Rogers, which will be probably the primary 2 starters there, Jeff Okuda, and then Dwight McGlothern is the 4th guy who made the team. We do have some guys on the practice squad. We can talk about Zemiah Vaughn made that practice squad. You know, in my last episode, I talked about either him or McGlothern. one of those guys making the team, one of them going to the practice squad, and ended up being McGlothern. And since we had that conversation too, no, this happened before, but Blackman was traded, so that was another guy that actually happened after my episode. So Blackman was traded, which created another spot. So I had 5, and then they only have 4 right now. So we'll see what happens. They're probably gonna play in a lot of nickel coverages with Metellus coming down, and they have 5 safeties they kept. So some of those guys will be used differently in B-Flow's defense. So we'll see what happens with that. But anything to add for the DB room there, D, for the corners? No surprises, really?
No, not
Are you
really.
surprised with the number of 4?
Yeah, I thought we were gonna keep 5 and
Yeah.
everything. So,
Yeah, for sure.
yeah, I'm pretty excited for this DB core, everything. So, like I said, if everybody just stays healthy.
Yep, exactly. That's the biggest thing. So, well, moving on to the safeties, and we got Theo Jackson, Josh Metellus, Harrison Smith. No surprises there. Jay Ward and Taveri Thomas made the team. So he's 8th year from Ferris State. So he's got some experience in the NFL. So, one thing that has been kind of flying under the radar a little bit is Harrison Smith missed all of training camp for some kind of illness. So who knows? Maybe it's like, hey, you don't need to take training camp. You don't need training camp. Take it off. So maybe it's something like that. But hopefully Harrison Smith is all good and there's nothing major going on or health related, and he's doing well. So excited to see the Hitman back for his 14th. I think. Wait, is this year 14 or 15? It might be 15 because now I think this last year was 14, so this year's 15.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about that. And then special teams, we got kicker Will Reichard, Ryan Wright made it, and then Andrew DiPaolo is long snapper. And then IR right now we have CJ Ham, obviously Rondell Moore, unfortunately, tore his ACL back in that preseason game number 1. Gavin Bartholomew are pretty much the 3 big names there, and we have a list of other guys that we don't have to really get into that, but there's some other guys there that are injured too from the preseason and training camp. Yeah, so that's the 53-man roster. Overall, I'm excited about the roster. I think they've done a tremendous job making this the best situation as possible for JJ McCarthy, and I'm just excited now for the season to get rolling and see what happens. So, well, we can talk about the practice squad here a little bit. I'm not going to go over every single guy because it's kind of a laundry list of names, but some key guys that I thought had a chance of making the practice or making the 53 that are on the practice squad are like Lucky Jackson, wide receiver. Tim Jones, they moved him down to the practice squad. I think once Thielen got not cut, they traded for Thielen. Tim Jones went down the practice squad because they did have him on the initial 53. Nick Vanette, another guy, and then Gabe Murphy that we talked about, and then Zamiah Vaughn made the practice squad, which I was happy about that. Halasi, another cornerback, made the practice squad, and then Moreau made the practice squad. So they do have 3 cornerbacks on the practice squad. So like I said before, they can elevate those guys as needed. So we'll see what happens. Fabian Moreau is one guy that they added late to the practice squad. So he's got some good experience in the NFL and provides a little bit of veteran presence if we need him to come out. Any thoughts for you on the 53D?
No, it just the only thing that actually is really shocking me is just about Gabe Murph. I think he had a heck of a preseason, and he had a sack and a half. Like that, I thought he was gonna make it the 53-man roster. When I saw that, I was really shocked about that.
Yeah, the biggest thing that I think that made the difference for him versus those other guys is the special teams ability. So I think they were performing better on special teams, and Gabe Murphy was more just cut off kind of for defense most of it, most of the thing. I think that Chambliss and Keys were really good special teams guys, and I think that helped them at the end of it to make the 53-man roster. So that's an important aspect of the game too. Is you got to have guys that can come out and play good special teams for you.
Mm-hmm.
So, well, yeah, just moving on to our next segment here. We're just gonna briefly ask DC. Last episode, I did my predictions for the season. I did have one change to mine. You know, since the Packers went on and traded for Micah Parsons, that kind of swayed me to think a little differently. I had them initially out of the playoffs, but now I think that kind of puts them in the playoffs. And I took the Falcons out. So let's go over mine again real quick. So NFC North, I had the Lions winning. NFC South, I had the Bucks. NFC East, I had the Eagles. NFC West, I had the 49ers. I had the Vikes in 11-6 record. Wild card spot, Commanders and the Packers. AFC North, I had the Ravens. Then the AFC South, the Texans. AFC West, the Chiefs. AFC East, the Bills. The playoff, there are 3 wild card teams I had were the Bengals, Steelers, and Chargers. And then my MVP was going to be Josh Allen, and then offensive rookie of the year or defense rookie of the year, Travis Hunter, and offense rookie of the year is Ashton Genty for me. So, Big D, I'm going to ask you now what you had for your teams that you think in those spots. So, who do you have winning the NFC North?
So I'm going to the Vikings.
Okay, I like it. Yep.
I'm going to the Vikings. Yes, it kind of it almost shook me up a little bit because of Packers getting Micah Parsons or whatever. But
Yeah.
I am staying true to my colors. I think the Vikings are gonna come back from revenge from last year, and they're gonna win the North.
Yeah, I like it.
Then for the East, I'm gonna switch that up a little bit because you picked the Eagles. I'm
Okay.
going Commanders
Okay.
because they're gonna be hungry. I think they have a way better team this year than they did last year. They got a lot of some key players from free agent and some good players for the draft. So I'm going Commanders. And for the
Okay.
NFC West, I'm going to go with the 49ers.
Okay.
And for the South, I'm going to go to the Bucks.
Okay.
Then for
Who are your 3 wild card teams?
my wild, it will be Green Bay.
Okay.
I'm going to go Green Bay, Eagles, and you can't count with the Rams. I'm going to go to the Rams.
Okay. So you're gonna have the Lions missing the playoffs completely this year?
Yes.
Okay. Bold. I like it though. Yeah. I mean, hey, they're gonna have new coordinators, so you don't know what's gonna happen offensively. So yeah, that'll be cool to see what happens there. Moving on to the AFC North, who do you have winning the AFC North?
I'm going to go Ravens.
Okay. AFC South.
South, I'm going to go with Texans.
Okay. AFC West.
The Chiefs.
So far we're both all on the same page on this one. AFC East.
I'm going to go with the Bills.
Yeah. Who's your 3 wild card teams you got?
So I'm going to go Bengals.
Okay.
I'm going to go Broncos again.
Okay. Yeah, I could see that for sure. I think Bo Nix could have a good season. And you know, one thing, you guys listen to season 1, Zach and I were not very high on Bo Nix, and he proved us wrong. He had a really good year last year. Could arguably be the best rookie quarterback besides Jaden Daniels. So I think he fit perfectly in that Sean Payton offense, unfortunately.
My third team.
It's a hard AFC is pretty both conferences are pretty stacked. AFC is always really tough for me to figure out.
Okay, so who do I have for the wild card so far?
So you had the
Broncos.
Broncos. Did you say Bengals?
Bengals, yes.
Yeah. So do you think Pittsburgh gets in there if Aaron Rodgers? Do you think it's gonna be a dud?
I think it's gonna be a dud.
Okay. How about the Chargers? Do you think they squeak in with Harbaugh?
That could be the Chargers too, but I think I'm gonna go with the Patriots.
Okay, surprise team Patriots.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go with Patriots.
Okay. Yeah, I could see it with Drake May year 2 and Vrabel coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Patriots are going to take a little while though, from my opinion. I think they're going to take a few years to rebuild that team, but could be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious to see what happens with the Dolphins this year. Dolphins have always had a pretty decent team, but Tua, you just never know.
Yeah.
Freaking Bama quarterback. So
Knock on wood. Hope he doesn't get a concussion. Or
right,
hope he
yeah, you just want to see that dude
like
healthy.
hope he's just be a lot smarter this year than last year and
Mm-hmm.
like run out of bounds or slide feet first. And just
Yeah.
don't be. I just hope he's smart out there.
Yeah, for sure. I'm excited too, just talking about Bama quarterbacks, seeing what Bryce Young does this year. I'm rooting for him. I like Bryce Young. He
Mm-hmm.
seems like he's got a good head on his shoulders. Seems like a good kid. So hopefully year 3 will be even better. Last year he showed some promise towards the
Yeah,
end. So who do you have winning the MVP?
I'm gonna go Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I could see that
Mm-hmm.
for sure. I think I'd pick Josh Allen. I think Allen, Burrow, or Lamar. I think one of those 3 will get it.
Yeah, it's
That's what I
it's
think.
always someone from the
I
West.
Yeah, I just picked someone different because Jackson won it last
Mm-hmm.
year, so I thought maybe Josh Allen would win it this year. But who do you got for your offensive rookie of the year?
I'm gonna go Ashton Gently.
Yeah, I think that's a solid one. And then how about for your defense rookie of the year?
See, I really don't know who much about the rookies for defense besides Travis Hunter, so I'm just gonna go Travis Hunter.
Yeah, sounds good. Abdul Carter is another
Oh,
guy that could potentially
mm-hmm.
for the Giants. Hunter. It probably won't be one of those guys.
No,
We'll see what
yeah,
happens. It's always someone
yeah,
different. So, and then I was trying to think like I don't think it's gonna be a quarterback this
no,
year for offense rookie of
mm,
the year. So
no,
I just picked the running back. I think Genty will provide a lot of promise and punch for the Raiders. I'm excited to see what he does, and then Brock Bowers here in year 2. So
yeah,
need those guys. I need Bowers for my fantasy team.
yeah.
I gotta kick your butt a couple leagues.
I just need
So
to do good in fantasy this year, better than last year. So
hey, it's always better luck next
yeah, I
year,
know, right?
right? So yeah, so just I was gonna ask you a couple more things. So you had the Vikes making the or not making it, but winning the division. So what did you have for their record? I had them at 11-6, I think it was. Yeah,
So
like 12-5, 13-4, 11-6, 10-7.
I'm gonna go.
I think the team that wins the North will definitely be above 11 or 10 games. So I don't think 10-7 would be accurate, but
I'm gonna go. You know what? I really have high hopes for JJ McCartney this year, and just the way this offense
mm-hmm.
is.
Yeah,
I'm gonna go 14-3.
14-3.
I'm
All
gonna go
right,
14-3.
all right.
I know they have a really tough schedule this year. They really do.
Yep.
But I think they're gonna go 14-3.
All right, well, we'll know here soon. So week 1, what's your I'm saying we take the dub in
Yeah, we're
Chicago.
gonna take it.
I'm gonna say like 27 I don't know, 17, may win by 10 or something. What do you think?
I'm gonna go 27-20.
Okay, 27-20.
Yep,
I could see that
I'm gonna
too.
be sitting in my chair with my little Viking plates and with my chicken wings.
There you go.
Chicken wings.
Are you gonna be in your like little man cave you have down in your new place?
Nope, I'm actually gonna sit in the living room
Okay, there you go.
like that.
That a boy.
So
We'll enjoy it, man. We have a long season ahead of us. We'll do weekly. We'll try to do weekly episodes. Like I said, I have a newborn coming here in September too, so time will get busy with that. But we'll do our best to do weekly. I'd like to come on here, even if it's brief, for like a 20-minute episode and chat about the game. things like that. So then eventually later on, as the football season gets going in college, we'll talk a little bit about the draft as well. So that is my my favorite thing. Just talking about the draft, I thought last night watching Notre Dame play Miami, I thought Carson Beck looked pretty good, looked a little better, but we'll see if he continues that. So, but he had a lot of struggles last year at Georgia, and kind of took a lot of the blame for that. But we'll see. He was considered last year to be the number one quarterback going into college football for the draft for the 2025 draft. So we'll see if he can kind of get back to that, echelon. But we'll see. I don't know if he'll get there, but we'll see. If he definitely can have a year, I think he could sneak himself into the first round for sure.
Yeah, because is he a senior this year?
I think this is his last year of eligibility. Yeah. Yep. So, but all right. Well, hey, we're super excited for the football season. Keep tuning in weekly. We appreciate the listeners, and thanks for the love and support. And hopefully next time we're on here, we'll be celebrating that first victory of the season. But until next time, SKOL Vikes. Thank you for listening to our episode. Be sure to give us a follow on Instagram and X at Naptime Sports Talk Podcast for content related to the pod. Thank you for the support.